This episode of the Athletes Lounge podcast is brought to you by the Numb Cut. I'm Hunter Wade at the Athletes Lounge podcast. I'm here with my guest,
I'm Allie Malone. I'm a senior on the Gibson Southern girls basketball team.
the state champion girls Gibson Center basketball team. So I guess, now we're like a week and a half into it. How does being a state champion feel?
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been really exciting, and we've had a lot of great opportunities come out of it too. But it's just awesome, like knowing that we finally accomplished it.
So, you were with, Coach Brasher's been there every year you've been there.
hmm
So what was it like to, I guess, not, maintain the same coach throughout all your 4 years, and then to have multiple good runs, and then the final run end up with a state title.
Yeah, Coach B is an awesome coach, and I've got to know him really since probably my eighth grade year when I started coming to workouts. And he just puts so much time and effort and energy into the program, and we all work so hard for everything, and he's worked really hard, and he does a great job preparing us, and really just getting to build that relationship with him over the last 4 years has been great. And then obviously to finish my career with him as a state champion has been an amazing feeling.
So, the squad was not a very senior heavy squad,
Mm-mm.
and maybe Paige being Paige and Gabby being Gabby makes up for not being seniors because they're just above where they should be theoretically, but like what
Mhm.
was it like to win a state with a group where essentially, you and Chloe are just older compared to, you're older compared to everyone else there,
Yeah.
and teams aren't meant to win state with two seniors.
Right. Chloe and I have been playing together probably since I think it's third grade. And so we've really gotten to know each other a lot over the last several years. And to like finish our careers together and finish that journey, it was just like super rewarding. But as far as everybody else goes, like we have a lot of talent on the team. And even though we weren't super senior heavy, we had Gabby, who has 3 years of experience, Nola with a couple years of experience, and some girls off the bench with a couple years of experience as well. And so that really helped. And then obviously Paige stepping up big time as a freshman really helped. And we all joked that by the end of the season, she wasn't playing like a freshman anymore. And so just all of our pieces kind of finally came together, and we were ultimately able to pull off the end goal.
You know, the during that state final game, the opponent whose name is now slipping me. Who did you beat?
Norwell.
Norwell. That's what I thought. I almost said Scottsburg, but that was game before, 2 games before, I guess.
Yeah.
The they Norwell introduced the trap midway through,
hmm
which definitely we're gonna say muddied up the offense a little bit. The
Yeah.
I guess what was it? And Brasher had to take a couple of timeout, or Coach Brasher had to take a couple of timeouts, later in I guess the half, to I guess calm things. What was kind of like the mood like during those when they started? Because you guys were really up and they started coming back pretty convincingly. Uh,
Yeah.
what was the mood and like kind of those huddles and when you're on the court on how can we stop them when because I mean, they were cold and then they got hot and they started getting
hmm
transition buckets and all that stuff.
Yeah. We really just had to emphasize not turning the ball over because they were getting transition points, like you said, and we needed dead ball turnovers if we were going to turn it over, not live ball turnovers that they could turn into offense. And so we really were just emphasizing taking care of the ball and taking good shots. That way we could set up our defense too. And also just sticking together through the adversity, because if we all turned and tried to point the finger or play the blame game, it was not going to work into our favor. So really just like sticking together, like through that time of them making their run was big too.
So you were kind of, I'll call it the press breaker, because they were going to press
Mhm.
Gabby because Gabby by default is just going to touch the ball every possession. And you were kind of
Right.
where were you stationed? About a half court?
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, was that the most the ball's been in your hands in a game all year? Was the like the being in the press breaker? Was that like kind of
Yeah.
like a new
Probably
position?
close to it. Yeah, I mean, when Gabby got hurt last year early in the season, I played point guard until she came back. So I had had that experience before, and even growing up, I had played a lot of point guard. But I feel like this game, especially with them trapping so much, it was definitely the most I was bringing the ball up the floor.
Was it? And I guess was that being said, we talked about how you hit, you went 2 from 2 for three. We talked about I guess go ahead and mention it on air. Oh, first one you said you knew were going in, or you you,
Hmm.
you knew was going in. Second one, not so much.
A little questionable. Yeah.
Uh,
I think it was also just in a big moment too. So it was like, I really hope this is about to go in because it was big.
yeah, well, the second one is pretty cool. You popped the crowds. That was cool. The the so I guess going into this year, how would you and throughout the year, how would you describe your role on the team?
Yeah. Definitely leading the last several years, I've been more of a defensive player and just making sure I stop the other team's best player and set good screens, rebound, all that kind of stuff. But this year, Coach and I had talked about it. He still needed me on the defensive side, obviously, but just being willing to taking the good shots and the shots that I get and being an offensive threat. And so I'd say this year my role was definitely to get my points when I could get them and play defense.
So what's it like? And it's, like when because like, is it fair to say you're the fourth offensive option?
Yeah.
The so what's it like knowing that it's a high school game? It's not overly fast paced. It's not like it's not absurd in terms of getting up and down.
Hmm.
It's not absurd pace. The so what's it like knowing that, I might touch the ball seven, eight times? I might have three shot attempts, or it was that a change in mentality, or you just like that's fine, you know?
Yeah, I was always fine with it. I knew what my role was on the team, and I just wanted what was best for the team and ultimately to win. And if the way to do it was me to just take my couple shots when I got them, that was fine with me. And just getting the ball into our big scores, I knew that was my job too, and I was okay with that.
So, what did you mentioned we talked about the threes. Is your three ball setting you're actually confident with, or was it just like because of where everyone else operated, you just kind of had to get used to shooting it?
No, I was definitely confident in it. The last couple summers, I've been in the gym a lot on the gun, shooting a lot of threes, and even throughout the fall and stuff. And so I was confident in it whenever I could get a good shot out of it.
Those guns are awesome.
Yeah, they're
The
definitely not.
makes it easier not to go, chase. The
Right.
Still, you know, at what point were there any games this year? Not any games, any of the playoff games. Was the state title one the most nerve-wracking in terms of like, oh my goodness, we might lose this? Or what was the most nervous? Like we might actually lose this.
I would say there were a couple occasions. Definitely the semifinals against Memorial was kind of the first like, oh crap moment. It was super close all game, and then they kind of controlled the second half, and we were down with like a minute to go, I think, and they were taking the ball out of bounds, and their point guard was bringing it down, and I was picking her up at half court, and I kind of had that thought in my head of, all right, this is it. Like we have to get this ball back. Like otherwise, this is it for me. And so that was definitely the first time I thought about it. And then the Scottsburg game, whenever they went on their run and really flipped it around and took the lead there for a minute, it was like it was a very real possibility that we could get beat. And I feel like those two occasions, besides the state game, were the most nervous I probably got.
Great hair doesn't happen by chance. It happens by appointment. Call 812-457-6360 to schedule yours today. But cold to start as well as
Hmm.
sort of as the Norwell. What was the feeling like when Richardson, to put it, I guess bluntly, started cooking? Because she was making some
Yeah,
she I mean she and I guess like you knew eventually at some point she wasn't going to shoot like 2 for 19. She was going to
right.
heat up. But what was it like when she got like I mean she got really hot at one point.
Yeah, she got really going there in the third quarter, and we were really just trying to contain her. And then I went down with an ankle sprain and had to get taken to the
Hmm.
locker room and everything. And whenever I left, I knew we were losing. And whenever I came back, they were telling me that they had been running at her, like running and jumping just to get the ball out of her hands, and it was working. And so that was really a game changer, was just getting the ball out of her hands and making somebody else make plays.
You mentioned, yeah, and I actually didn't forget, but you had reminded me that you did go down uh
Mhm.
with the ankle. And so between the ankle and the finger, which one was worse?
Ankle, definitely.
Oh, you don't say?
Yeah.
Yeah. But how was your ankle by the last two games?
Yeah, so in between the Scottsburg and the Danville game, it was lots of ice and stretching and all of that, and just trying to keep it loose and keep it moving. And took some ibuprofen before the game and just kind of pushed through it. And then it was pretty sore after that Danville game, and so they actually stuck me in a boot for most of the week before
Hmm.
state. And my dad's actually an athletic trainer and physical therapist and
Yeah, you
stuff,
beat me
and
to
so
that.
yeah, so he did some treatment stuff on it throughout the week to kind of get me back going. And the state game, once I got going and adrenaline got kicked in, I was doing all right, but I was pretty sore after that, and I'm still kind of recovering from that now.
Sports have a weird way of making injuries you had before the game disappear. And then after the game, it's like, well, this kind of sucks.
Yep. Yeah, I think adrenaline really takes over.
Yeah, the all the games I got lucky where I went to a few regular season games and just every game's real, but you
Hmm.
guys are expected to beat most of your regular season opponents, even if they're, like Kyle, never called him Kyle. Mr. Brasher gets a pretty good schedule.
Hmm.
He doesn't get like just a he doesn't just book people just to book them. He likes to play
Right.
tough. But most
Yeah.
people, and I'm not going to say names. You know who you're supposed to beat.
Hmm.
What was it like? So I went to a few of those, and but when I went to the postseason games, they're real. It's real. I guess more equal competition. Was it the first couple? I guess first few years, were you shocked by how good or I guess upper competition the playoffs were, and were you ready for it this year? Maybe a little bit more than previous years.
Yeah, I think the last couple of years we had definitely played some tougher games on our schedule, but he really ramped it up this year with us having several girls with several years of experience. He thought we could handle it, and he knew it was only going to prepare us for postseason. And we had talked about it early, and like even if we stumble in these games and happen to get beat, like that's not our end goal. Our end goal is bigger, and it's to prepare for postseason. And so even just like taking those losses as like learning opportunities, and I think that really did prepare us for postseason. And just even in first of all competition, but also teaching us just how to stick together through the adversity. And obviously, we faced some adversity through postseason, and I think that really paid off.
You guys had some, I guess, some fair to say injuries this year, because Lauren got hurt, and then you had your stuff, which I don't know if it was ever touch and go if you're going to play, but there's stuff where it marks on the injury report, I guess.
Hmm.
So what was it like because what were you guys playing 7, 8 deep all year?
Yeah, pretty much.
And then did that same group pretty much sans Lauren kind of carry over to the postseason?
Yeah.
So what's it like when like as a team you kind of know like what we only want to play 7, 8 deep, whatever it is at that time, and like none of us can get hurt because like if anyone gets hurt, you're kind of done when you're playing a small rotation.
Right. It was definitely one of those things where it was like we wanted to go all out, and if injury kind of wasn't really on our mind until it happened, and once Lauren went down, then it was just kind of figuring out who was going to step up next. And Nola stepped up big time and played great throughout the postseason, and so it was just like one of those things where you can't really like worry about the injuries, and you just have to be willing to step up when your number's called. So.
And I just want to put her over here a little bit because she's awesome. So Paige being so good as a freshman was
Mhm.
definitely something that uh and I don't even know if anyone in the whole tournament actually had someone to be able to guard her, realistically. So what was
Mhm.
that like, kind of knowing that even as a shooter, that if I miss this, the offensive rebound chance is pretty high. 'Cause
Yeah.
her offensive rebound percentage must have been absurd. The
Right. She really kicked it on late in the season, and we knew it was going to take her a little bit to get going. We played a tough schedule and we had some tough competition, and obviously she was a freshman thrown right into the fire, and so it's an adjustment. But I think she adjusted really well and stepped up and made big plays. And just knowing that she was going to be there we could throw it up inside to her and she could make a power move and score, or even just being there to pull down all our rebounds. We just trusted in her a lot by the end of the season.
You kind of touched on this a little bit early on with talk about like I guess like working out when you're in eighth grade and that, but like what made you at what point did you kind of go, because not everyone makes it all 4 years, you know.
Hmm.
What made you kind of decide I'm doing this all 4 years? Or was it even like leaving never even kind of crossed your mind outside of like the man, that workout sucked. I'm done.
Yeah, honestly, leaving was never really an idea for me. I've played basketball since I was young, and I'd always really enjoyed it. In high school, basketball was just so much fun with these teams and the coaches and everything. And so leaving was never really like an idea of mine, and just sticking it out like through the end was super rewarding.
Yeah, do you do any air sports?
Yeah, I play softball.
Yeah, that's what I thought you did softball. So right now, is it fair to say basketball is a little bit above softball?
I don't know if I want to say that, but it's definitely I got a good feeling right now.
Yeah, yeah. Never touching a basketball again is you're
Right.
never touching it. You peaked.
Yeah.
The So I guess I asked this to coaches, and I guess I never asked the one of you guys, an athlete. Basketball to softball transition, and granted, softball is conditioning. It's not like you're going soccer to basketball,
hmm
but like, what's it like to, I guess, change from basketball to soccer? Or I'm sorry, basketball to softball.
Yeah, it's definitely just a change of pace. It's less physically like demanding on your legs and everything, but I feel like softball is more mental and it's a lot of different movements. And so the transition is just very different. Like it's two completely different things.
More hand-eye coordination.
Yes.
So I guess going in softball, you looking forward to softball?
Yeah, I'm excited for season. We just started official practice this week, so today will be day number 3, so it'll be exciting.
So, like I guess that minds like or brings to I guess my mind that like you won state as a senior in basketball. Softball and
hmm
Gibson softball is usually pretty good. It's just
hmm
kind of it's default by default Gibson softball is just good. The so is it kind of like because you won state in one sport, obviously you want to win state every year. You'd like to play 3 sports each year and win 3 state titles. But is it
Right.
like does it get you almost energized now that you know what winning one state feels like to actually win another one?
Yeah, it definitely gives me like the motivation to know like softball is the last season I'm gonna get, and so just going out on a high there would be awesome, and just staying hungry at the end of the day is big.
Oh no, you can do employee rec league softball when you're like 25. Come on now.
Yeah, there you go.
The so I guess you won an award after the game. You won a scholarship. Want to talk about that?
Mhm. Yeah, so I won the Mental Attitude Award, and it gives $1,000 back to Gibson Southern, and it's just recognizing academic ability, leadership, athletic side of it. And so just winning that was super humbling, like knowing that my coach and my principal felt confident enough in submitting me for that award, and just I wouldn't be here without the support of like my parents and my family, coaches, and my teammates really getting me here too.
So you had no idea, right?
No, I didn't know.
No, like I said, I didn't think you were that good of an actor. I didn't think you could. I didn't think you knew. But
No.
what's that like for I guess your parents? 'Cause like it's like when it's like everyone knows. I guess in your parents' kids, like everyone thinks their kid's a good kid. Everyone knows their kid's a good kid.
Mhm.
In your case, yeah. But like, what's it like going? Oh, everyone. What's it like for your parents and everyone else when they go? Oh, well, like they everyone else recognizes this too.
Yeah, I just know that they were super proud and of everything that I've accomplished, and they just have always said that they know I'm gonna do big things, and like just to see me like living out all of this, I know like is super exciting for them, and yeah,
The Yeah, big moment. So
yeah, it
they
was,
they really hit you with 2 in a row. You won state, and then they hit you with that. They really tried to.
yeah, it was definitely a whirlwind there for a couple minutes.
So something I didn't know, remember, or realize is so you get your medals. Everyone gets their first the medal.
hmm
The I didn't remember them doing second place at in the
Yeah,
same place, which this is an off-topic thing, is so awkward. The
yeah,
It's like because Norwell played good. Well, they didn't play good, and they played really, really good.
yeah.
And I'm sure they wish they probably had it a little bit evened out, but they came really far back. And like I guess I said earlier, was there any talk about changing the press breaker at all, or is it just kind of like one of those things where you practice it so many times, you guys just have to roll with it?
Yeah, we had definitely prepared a lot during the week, how we started it, but then we made the adjustment late into the game to move Chloe from the corner into the middle to give us another
Yeah.
option up high. And so I think that definitely helped us just getting the ball down the floor and spacing purposes.
Well, because Chloe had hit a corner three or two coming off
Hmm.
of that, which worked, but then it got to the point where, when they double you, and like how tall are you? Like how tall are you and Gabby?
5'5", and
Yeah,
Gabby's probably like 5'8".
yeah. So like it's kind of like when they double you, it's not like you're 6'8", where you can just like
Right.
jump up and then fling like you're 5'5". It's just
Hmm.
you know you you're more crowded when you're 5'5". So like
Right.
was it kind of getting to the point where it's like we just can't make these passes because all we're seeing them
Yeah.
what we can't we travel if we try to step into something you know when you're being harassed and they're
Yeah.
touching. I mean the refs or they won't call it, but I mean they're touching you. Like they're
Hmm.
it's not like
Yeah.
it's not like they're just forming a box around you. No, they're hitting you when you go. Was it getting just hard to make passes that were
Yeah, it was hard to make passes, and we didn't have a whole lot of options. They really started guarding Chloe heavy in the corner and really coming selling out on her, and so Gabby didn't have that skip pass down to the corner anymore initially. And with Paige starting low and Nola starting low, we really needed another option up high for whenever I wasn't open because that was a long pass, obviously, for Gabby to try to make. And so really moving Chloe into the middle just made that pass a little bit easier to get the offense going.
so on the roster, at least on who was playing. I don't want to say on the roster. There was kind of like
Mhm.
Gabby and Chloe are ball handlers. They are. You're kind of, I guess, the tertiary ball handler, and then almost like I guess Paige exists as a ball handler because she can post up, though that's really kind of different, but she's an offensive hub because she can post up. The
Mhm.
Was it kind of like we have to you guys knew like you kind of had the feed, like I guess I hate saying the big three because that's a cliche term. But
Mhm.
like the three, and then I guess you and Nola are kind of auxiliary to like, the big three, which is fine. That's just, what it is. Like
Yeah.
you hit your shots, but Gabby's the point guard. Chloe is a
Right.
scoring machine and Paige is giant. So, it just kind of is what it is. But was it did you feel like pressure to step up, or did you kind of just know I'm just gonna wait for my moments to, step up?
Yeah. It was definitely one of those things where I knew that at a certain point in time, Gabby and Chloe were going to be heavily guarded, and Paige was probably going to be guarded by their big girl down low as well. And so it was one of those things where when my time comes, I need to step up and hit the shots. And it wasn't like I'm going out seeking like all
Yeah.
the big shots and everything. But whenever it comes to me, I need to capitalize on it.
You worded it a lot better than I did. What I was trying to say was they're going to sell out eventually because they can't stop the other three one on one.
Yes.
And you and Nola are kind of the auxiliary pieces too. Like, you're out there.
Hmm.
If the other three are out there to do everything, you guys are out there to do your roles because the other three can do everything, and you're there to. Well, did you guard the best player usually?
Yeah, a lot of times Chloe really took on one of their best players in the state game just with me not being able to move quite as well.
Yeah,
But once she got into foul trouble, we kind of made that switch for a little bit.
because
But
you were on Richardson like in Scottsburg, right?
early in the game,
Yeah,
yeah.
well, yeah, before you got hurt. So first off, I guess what was that experience like? Because like, essentially because of the other two needing, I guess, more energy on the offensive end, you kind of got thrown into the fire each night.
Hmm.
So what was that like guarding
Yeah,
and is it humbling? Is-
sometimes it is, and sometimes you just have to tip your cap because they're good players and they're going to hit tough shots and score, obviously. And so sometimes it's like, well, dang, I don't know that I really could have played any better defense there. But it was exciting for me. Just it was a challenge, and I always just wanted to step up to the challenge and try to just make their lives difficult.
So this is a weird, this is not a weird question, but any thought into the shoe choice? How does the shoe choice happen?
My shoes.
Yeah.
I just usually order them from our like team
Yeah.
site each
Yeah.
year.
I didn't know if there's like any like selection process and what you went through, or what did you wear? Did you remember what you wore?
I wore some sort of LeBrons, and honestly, they're shot now. So,
Oh yeah, they're after a year they're cooked. Yeah, I was about to say, cause I don't know, cause I know like was this one of those teams? Who you played in the semi-state, like the final?
Scottsburg and then Danville.
Yeah, Danville. I think Danville all had matching.
Yeah, I think they were all hot pink. I think.
I don't think, yeah, they didn't have the same model, but they all were the same color at least. And
Hmm.
so I didn't know like there's any actually thought process. Like I know Gabby put thought process in because she got Way of Wade's. So I knew
Yeah.
I know she put thought process. I just didn't know if there's any thought process. I just wanted to ask because I'm like some people like are I didn't think maybe you were, but some people are very religious with what they
Yeah, no,
put
just
their
kind of
shoe.
whatever.
Yeah, the by the way, I can imagine because I think I have the same pair you have, probably several sizes bigger.
Mhm.
But they don't last on rec games when you're going like 75%. So when you're going 100%, I don't know if
Yeah.
they last. So I guess wrapping up here, what's I guess what was your best moment from the season, the state itself? What's your favorite moment?
Yeah, I think definitely just when that buzzer finally went off in the state championship, of realizing we had finally pulled off everything we'd ever worked for and everything we'd ever dreamt of, and reality just kind of set in that we did it, but that was it for me, and like I ended my career in the best way possible. That was definitely my favorite moment.
Yeah, the how much did you who hung out with the trophy on the way back?
It hung out on the back of the bus with a lot of us for a while, and that thing's super heavy, so then it had to take a break on the ground. But
Yeah, it I was like I was just because I guess maybe I'm dumb. I was like, like so they got their runner-up title was pretty nice. Like the runner-up like
Mhm.
trophies actually was actually pretty nice. And I went, "Oh my, that thing's huge." I wasn't
Yeah,
expecting it
it
to be
is
that big.
heavy.
And
Yeah.
then that made me wonder, so like if you're like a state like New Hampshire, what's your thing look like?
Yeah,
Is it
that's a
like a
good
little
question.
is it like a little I'm sorry, that's dumb. I just had to this is an honest question I have to look up. But I've been Hunter Way at the Athletes Launch podcast, and thanks for doing this.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Hey guys, this is Hunter with the Athletes Launch Podcast. Please like, share, and subscribe where you can. Thanks.